Beyond the buzzer, inside the game, this is SportsIQ with Larry Smith.
And we have made it to Friday. Woo! Friday, whatever you want to call it. Hopefully, we got a good weekend planned. I know we do. We were watching some NFL, watching some baseball, maybe do a little traveling. We got all that going on. It's a Sports IQ. Glad you're here. We've got a fantastic way to finish off the week here. The legend, college football analyst Danny Sheridan joining us here in just a couple of minutes. Listen, when Danny's on the show, you know it is football time. Be sure you get your chips and dip ready. By the way, I've got a coworker in Lexington, Kentucky, who is a huge tailgater. Like, they're actually going to sit out in chairs tonight, overnight, to mark their place, because tomorrow's the day you can put your stuff in place to secure your spot for the tailgate. I mean, they put up 4 big screens. They spend thousands of bucks in food and drink, for the season. I mean, it's a big deal. So I'll be honest, I don't tailgate much because I'm a sportscaster. So I'm always either in the stadium or in the studio to talk about what's going on in the stadium. So tailgating for me is kind of a new thing. But anyway, that's what's going on. Danny Sheridan is coming on. Also, Gloria Nevarez, she is the commissioner of the Mountain West Conference. Now, there's a story here we've got in a minute we'll talk about with Gloria. This story came out after we did the interview. Full disclosure, we interviewed her earlier in the week, and we're going to run it today. And so that came up. We'll tell you what's going on with the Mountain West right now. There's a lawsuit. It's kind of a big deal. We'll get to that here in headlines. But the NFL kicking off its preseason slate, the first full week of preseason games last night. The games don't mean much, but certainly the performances do. In Baltimore, the Ravens were without Lamar Jackson. He sat this out. They still beat the Colts 24-16. Indy did start Anthony Richardson at quarterback, but he left in the second series with a dislocated pinky. Former Giants first-round pick Daniel Jones coming in and threw for 144 yards. Rookie Riley Leonard, formerly of Duke and Notre Dame, led Indy to their only touchdown of the game in the second half. Now, the Ravens drafted kicker Tyler Loop to replace Justin Tucker. He missed his first field goal try from 46, but then connected in the fourth quarter from 52 yards out to give the Ravens an 8-point lead. Reserve LeJonte Wester scored on an 87-yard punt return. Now, going by this game, Ravens fans had better hope Lamar Jackson stays healthy for the entire season, because the combination of Cooper Rush and Devin Leary at quarterback for Baltimore managed to throw for just 59 yards and 2 picks. Yikes. Somebody put some bubble wrap around Lamar. Make him wear it all season long. Meanwhile, the Eagles, Super Bowl champions, beat the Bengals 34-27. They held most of their big names out, but the Bengals did play theirs. Joe Burrow at quarterback getting in some good work. He threw for 123 yards, including a 36-yard strike to Jamar Chase, one of my favorite combinations in the NFL. The story for the Eagles was backup Tanner McKee, the former Stanford product, a very efficient 20 of 25 passing, 252 yards and 2 scores. Now, with QB injuries being what they are this time of year, don't be surprised if the Eagles get some calls about McKee's availability. Kyle McCord, the rookie out of Syracuse, finding to be QB3 for Philly, just 1 of 5 passing for 8 yards, also threw an interception. Raiders-Seahawks contest ended with a 23-all tie. Pete Carroll's return to the sidelines. Seahawks rookie Jalen Milroe went 6 for 10 for 61 yards, the former Alabama quarterback, as he backed up second-string Drew Lock, who got the start with QB1 Sam Darnold sitting this one out. For the Raiders, QB2 Aiden O'Connell had 205 yards passing after Geno Smith played just the first series. McConnell also threw 2 picks during his time in the game. Raiders rookie Cam Miller, the former North Dakota State star, came in at quarterback for the first time in the fourth quarter and probably got on the highlight reel with a deep 41-yard touchdown pass to Shedrick Jackson. Off the field, meanwhile, the Chargers got some devastating news. All-world left tackle Rashawn Slater will miss the entire 2025 season after suffering a torn patellar tendon in practice on Thursday. The team did make that announcement. Slater, who signed a 4-year, $114 million contract that made him the highest paid offensive lineman in NFL history just a week ago, will undergo surgery and will not play this season. By the way, the injury occurred when the Chargers were working on an 11-on-11 period, and another player appeared to fall on Slater's left leg. Wasn't even during a game. So just some tough news out of LA with the Chargers. And again, one of the top linemen again in the game today. By the way, more games coming up tonight, more games Saturday and Sunday as well, as they kind of spread them out now over the weekend, and we like that. Okay, college news. The story we talked about a moment ago, 3 Mountain West schools leaving for the Pac-12 had filed an updated lawsuit accusing the conference of improperly withholding tens of millions of dollars and misleading them about a covert plan to fast-track the addition of Grand Canyon University. Boise State, Colorado State, and Utah State filing the 37-page document on Thursday. It's a complaint in Colorado that they filed in Colorado federal court. That's according to documents obtained by The Athletic. The lawsuit also names Mountain West Commissioner Gloria Nevarez, who we'll talk to in a moment, but again, we talked to her before this. As a defendant, the schools claim the conference and Nevarez, quote, intentionally and fraudulently, end quote, deprived them of their membership rights, resulting in significant financial harm and negatively impacting student-athlete opportunities during their final season in the Mountain West. Okay, producer Tony has our first guest.
Well, thanks so much, Larry. And of course, our next guest is someone who we've had on before, and he is a dear friend. We have known each other over 30 years at this point, and he is very wise in the ways of the college football world. Danny Sheridan, once again, welcome to the show. We really appreciate you taking time out and joining us today.
I appreciate you having me on, Tony. It's always good to hear your voice. We had a lot of fun for about 10 straight years every Saturday morning on CNN.
Yes, we did. We kept them at bay for 10 years. We gave ESPN all that they could handle in those 10 years, I would say.
Actually, and all kidding aside, we have a 30-minute show. Our lead-in was Science Today. Their lead-in was Sports Center, a great show. They had 20 producers, just you and maybe a couple of cameramen, and we beat them in the ratings. One year we beat them 8 out of 11 weeks. It was pretty amazing.
Yeah. Not bad at all. Well, speaking of upsets, Danny, we had you on last year on another program we were doing, and we were talking college football, and we asked you for some predictions. And one of yours was spot on. You said, and everybody was kind of shocked when you said it, that Alabama going into last year was one of the favorites, expected to be in the 12-team college football playoff. You said, not surprised you. In fact, you said they were going to lose 3 or 4 games over the course of the season. That turned out to be very prophetic.
Well, I got lucky. I had my reasons. One of them you'd agree with. You can't follow Nick Saban. I mean, hell,
exactly.
The guy, I can't even imagine. I think I read in 17 years at Alabama, he had 16 10-win seasons, not counting the 9 SEC championships, the 6 national championships. You can't succeed him. It was his team. And, again, he's a better motivator than probably anybody. And nothing against Kellen DeBoer. He's a good coach, but I felt that DeBoer, and I still feel this way, great guy, great coach. This is the SEC, not the Pac-10. You can't get up for just 2 or 3 Pac-10 games in the SEC. As you know, you got to get up every week. So that's why I made that lucky prediction.
And that turned out to be very spot on. So let's talk a little bit about this year. You recently wrote something about some teams you thought might not live up to expectations. Give me a couple of schools that you think might struggle this year coming off decent years in 2024.
Well, I would say, to me, struggle is when you're favored almost every game, like Clemson, Miami, maybe every game but Notre Dame. I think both those teams, Clemson and Miami, they'll definitely lose. I believe they will. I'll be shocked. At least 3 games. Mighty Texas, 2 or 3 games, probably 2. They'll be favored in every game except at Georgia. You're talking a 1 or 2 point underdog. Everybody's high on Vanderbilt, and justifiably so. I certainly didn't see that last year. They've got their quarterback, pretty much everybody back, but now they're going to be the hunted. I think they'll be lucky to win 5 games. So off the top of in Illinois, they really are stacked. They've got like everybody back, like 19 starters. They had a great season last year. And this year, I think they'll get their comeuppance, and they'll lose at least 4 games, maybe 5. But we'll see.
Okay. Those are
more a surprise. Not really a surprise, but for years I've said that Auburn wouldn't win half their games because they didn't have a quarterback. This year, I believe they have a quarterback, and I see Auburn winning 8 or 9 games, which would be, for Auburn fans, would be unbelievable. And for Hugh Freeze's hot seat, it would really be unbelievable.
Yeah, that would certainly help out the hot seat jitters that he is undergoing. There are a couple coaches on that hot seat as we enter the season. Is a couple of them going to get off the hot seat, or a couple of them going to jump right, from the hot seat right into the fire, basically?
Well, I have a list of teams I'm looking at, Tony, because you had asked me about hot seat for coaches.
Yep.
Stop me if I'm going too long. I mean, it's unbelievable, the list. Win today. What have you done for me lately? Mike Gundy. I think he's a damn good coach. Oklahoma State. Sam Pittman, wonderful guy, nice guy, good coach. But hell, you're at Arkansas and you're competing against, I was going to say the SEC West. Now it's not anymore. You're competing against the SEC, and Sam's probably going to win through no fault of his own. It's a brutal schedule. 5 or 6 games, probably closer to 5. So he's definitely on the hot seat. I don't agree with that. Who are you going to get that's better than him? But they'll probably they'll go after the SMU coach. Luke Fickell, Wisconsin. I mean, Fickell's a damn good coach, but he's had problems at Wisconsin. Tony Elliott at Virginia. Everybody has a problem with Virginia. And I'm looking through the list here of schools. Mike Loxley, Maryland, good coach, Saban disciple. Brent Venables, Oklahoma. He better win this year. And when you say win, I don't know what would you consider a good win for Venables? How many games?
I would think if you're Oklahoma and knowing that fan base and knowing what you're up against, you better win 9 games.
Well, and he's gone because I think he's a great guy and a good coach. But if they win 8, I'll be really surprised. And I know they have a good schedule, but they're playing in the SEC and they're going to get waxed. 2 that we talked about last year, and you brought it up, or Larry, both of you, Lincoln Riley of Southern Cal and Mike Norville. And I said, and you agree, the only reason why they're not getting fired, because they got like a buyout that'll scare you, $80 to $100 million. Same with Brian Kelly. He's on the hot seat. Hell, he's won, 9 or 10 games the last couple of years, but it doesn't matter. LSU, he made the mistake of saying, I came here to win a national championship, and et cetera. And I don't blame him. But the bottom line is the fans are holding him accountable. LSU friends of mine, this is what, Tony, his 3rd year?
Yeah, this will be his 3rd season down there at LSU.
And they've said basically he doesn't win a national championship, he's out, to which I've said, I'm not sure they'll make the playoffs. I think they're going to lose at least 3 games, and it's not his fault. I think he's obviously a good coach. And this may surprise you, but I think, and I'm ahead of myself here, the loser of the Alabama-Auburn game, if Freeze has a so-so season and loses that game, he's out, which I think is stupid because he's a great coach. The Alabama coach, only his 2nd year, if he loses the 3 games that I think he will this year, and I think he'll be in the playoffs, but let's say he doesn't make the playoffs and he loses that game to Auburn, I think he's going to be out. So it's insanity. Alabama, Auburn, loser out. That's my reasoning there. They don't deserve to be, but they will be. I think one of them will be.
Well, that sounds like it's that's a pretty good long list of coaches who are going to go into the year on the hot seat. One guy we didn't really talk about in that list is our friend down there at Florida. And, Florida really finished strong last year, Danny. I've got them as one of the surprise teams that I believe they should, with what they have, make a run at the playoff. And if they can get to the playoff, it's going to be interesting to see if somebody can beat them.
Well, I thought last year, I said I thought they'd win 6 games, which is a miracle. And I said I'd make him coach of the year. They won 7. You're right. They're loaded. The reason why I have a problem with Florida, great coaching staff. AD is strong as an ox. He stood by him. And by the way, I think, Tony, I read somewhere Florida has the longest winning streak either in the SEC or the country. Can you imagine that? 4 games. They finished the season 4 games. So what you say is correct. The reason why I would not agree that they're going to be in the college playoffs, and I think Florida fans are going to be very disappointed. They may get, say, 7 wins. And I base that on not coaching, and I think you'll agree, the quarterback. He's injury prone. If he goes out, it's like bringing me in as quarterback. So I really think that even if he's healthy, and I hope he is, Lagway, I think that they'll probably 7 wins would be my ceiling. And again, that's not based on coaching. And I want to throw in something else too. Look at their schedule. It's the toughest schedule.
Oh, it's brutal.
I mean, you get a break, you get a non-conference game with Florida State. They're down. But hell, Florida State every year, and then you throw in Miami, at Texas A&M. I mean, it's a gauntlet. So that coupled with the natural attrition, I think they'll win. If they're very good, they'll win 7 games. Don't see them coming near the college football playoffs. They have probably one of the better offensive lines in the country. Lagway is top 5 quarterback in the country, and they've got a really good defense. But again, the attrition of playing in the SEC and that schedule. I mean, I don't have it in front of me, but it's with the exception of they're playing somebody the first game. It's a scrimmage like Long Island, New York, or something. Hell, I don't know.
Their schedule is really, really tough. Again, of course they play Georgia every year. It's
throw in the 2 tough teams in the conference. You reminded me they play Georgia every year. How about Texas? Then they go on the road to LSU and Miami, and it gets worse. I mean, the only break they really get, or believe it or not, it'll be Florida State at home at the end of the year, and maybe 1 or 2 others. But Ole Miss is going to be out to pop them for what they did to them, knocked them out of the playoffs last year. There's no break in that schedule except for the opening game. And I can't say that about any college team.
Yeah, I think they have one of the toughest schedules in the entire country. I mean, if they can win 9 games with that schedule, they should be in the playoff, Danny.
I don't think Saban
win 9 games.
You hear me?
What's that? I hear you.
Saban couldn't win 9 games with that schedule. And I think I would correct you in the sense that the last 2 years, including this year, Florida's schedule is the toughest I've seen in the history of college football, knowing what we know entering the season. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, no doubt. Let's take a look. Let's talk a little bit about the conferences. It's become the Big 2 now, and it's the Big 10 and the SEC. Well, the Big 10 has the last 2 national titles, so they've got a little bit of bragging rights going up there right now. How would you compare the Big 10 and the SEC right now as conferences?
Well, first of all, let me interject. I could be wrong with my numbers, but I think prior to the Big 10 winning the last 2, I think the SEC won something like 13 out of 17, some ungodly amount. So, and they're both clearly heads and shoulders, like you noted, above everyone else. Well, let's talk about the Big 10. First of all, the big argument is, and I understand the Big 10 says we're playing 9 conference games and the SEC is only playing 8. You come into the SEC and play 8 games down here. It's like night and day. And I'll give you, stop me if I'm wrong. Big 10 opponents, really scary. UCLA, they're in my worst 16 article. Rutgers, horrible. Northwestern, worse than horrible. Wisconsin, not good. Maryland, not good. Michigan State, let me think, Minnesota, Purdue, awful. And you say, okay, that's like 8 or 9 teams that are pushovers that couldn't beat Vanderbilt. They couldn't beat Vanderbilt consistently. I don't think they could beat Kentucky consistently this year. Some of them could beat Mississippi State. Then you ask, okay, that's 8 teams. What about, does this scare you if you're a coach and the SEC playing Iowa, Washington, Nebraska, Indiana? I know Indiana had a good year. They played no one. Illinois. So my point is, it's not a joke. It's not their fault, and you left out one team. Penn State, I think you did. Ohio State, Oregon. Oregon's got a good team, but they're lucky they're in the Big 10. But the Big 10 is really, it sucks as far as powerhouse. At the top, really good. Let's talk about the SEC. It's hard for me to say at the top because I can think of 7 teams, forget Texas and Georgia. There's 7 teams that will clearly beat Texas or Georgia this season. Not all of them. And anyway, I get a little carried away, but I just did some interview on the West Coast, and the guy's telling me about 9 conference games. I said, hell, 9 conference games. Again, I was at a loss for words, if you can believe that. You step into this conference, if you played 9 conference games in the SEC, it'd be tantamount to murder. You would get an extra loss. A couple of teams wouldn't go to a bowl game. Again, I'm preaching to the choir, but hey, the Big Ten's great, but when you got 3 honchos in the Big Ten and you got 13 slugs that couldn't compete in the SEC football wise, and now the SEC, I can name you. I mean, hell, Kentucky beat who they upset last year and knocked them out of the playoffs. Somebody, some team like some good. It wasn't Georgia, but they beat somebody, Florida, Ole Miss. It was Ole Miss, 17-point underdog, and they beat Ole Miss. And I could go on and on. There's only one team in the conference right now that would have trouble upsetting someone. That's Mississippi State. They're terrible. But I promise you, and you would agree, State's going to upset somebody this year.
Yeah, they'll probably knock somebody off. That's just the way of life down here in the SEC.
If you think Purdue and Northwestern, Tony, you think you got me worked up. You think Purdue and Northwestern and hell, I can't Purdue, Northwestern, Rutgers, Minnesota. You think they're going to upset Ohio State or Penn State or maybe Oregon, but I doubt it. So
I doubt it. I don't think those two schools could upset any of those Big Ten powers. I mean, Purdue they're just downright awful right now.
I think I made them, Tony. I sent you my article. I write an article for Gannett, the worst 16 teams.
Yep.
And I think I had Purdue at number 1 or Stanford. They're real close.
Yeah. One of those two is among the worst.
Stanford's not in the Big Ten.
We got a couple minutes left. Let's talk about Heisman Trophy and give me some odds on what you think will be the Heisman Trophy winner this year. I'm going in. I'm looking at Lagway. I'm looking at Arch Manning being a shot at that Heisman Trophy winner. I think those are two of the favorites going into this season. What are your thoughts?
Well, let me give you the odds. First of all, 4 of the top 6 Heisman candidates, odds-wise, SEC quarterbacks. Just couple you mentioned. The only one you didn't mention was Garrett Nussmeier. The favorite would be Arch Manning. We don't know about Manning. We know about his family. And then you got Garrett Nussmeier. Those are the 2 favorites. And then you got, again, 4 of the top 6 candidates, odds-wise, SEC quarterbacks. Hell, Tony, you got to go back a long way where the SEC used to be like, defensive lineman, which it still is, running back U. Now it's quarterback U. I mean, this conference, including Mississippi State's quarterback, are pretty damn good. And I can't say that. I looked at all the conferences. I'm excluding Notre Dame because obviously they're an independent. But I don't see anybody comparing to the SEC quarterbacks. Well, football teams too. But those are the 2, Manning and Nussmeier. I couldn't pick a Heisman Trophy winner if you gave me 5 weeks into the season. You just can't do it. One of the reasons you can't do it, because it's a very political vote. You know that.
Oh, absolutely.
Notre Dame goes 13-0. I don't care if I'm the quarterback, I'm the Heisman. And I don't knock Notre Dame. It's the same with Alabama. And by the way, the Alabama quarterback who hadn't taken us and started a game, he's in the Heisman top 6 or 7. And that's because, again, Alabama could run the table. The Georgia quarterback, I mean, the kid played 1 game, 2 games? Yeah. He's in the running. I was going to say the quarterback for Miami.
Gunnar Stockton. You're talking about Gunnar Stockton from Georgia.
I was going to say Carson Beck, but he's in Miami. But anyway, it's just, hey, thank you. I'm flattered that you think that I would know I know who the odds are. I just don't know who the hell's going to win.
I think it's going to be it's going to be kind of a very interesting season, a little bit wide open. Danny Sheridan, sports analyst, just extraordinary. We've known each other so long. Thank you so much for taking time and coming on the show and being with us and kind of prepping us as we get closer and closer to the start of college football.
I'll give you 2 quick ones because this transfer portal, NIL, that's why there's so much parity. Every team is going to lose 2 games, all the top teams in the country, 2 games guaranteed, and they'll still make the playoffs. Clemson, Miami, they'll lose more than 2.
Okay. I like that. That'll be we'll jot that down and see where it comes out when we get through with the season. We will be calling you back again, I'm sure, especially as we get closer to actual games being played on the field and pick your brain one more time.
What little brain I have, I look forward to it.
Thank Danny. Appreciate you so much. We will be right back on Sports IQ after we take a quick timeout.
You're listening to Sports IQ with Larry Smith.
Welcome back. Coming to you here from Atlanta today, in town for the WNBA on Ion tonight. Another doubleheader. A pretty good one. New York is at Dallas. Liberty just beat the Mavericks, the Wings in Brooklyn Tuesday night. Now they will go down. Not playing the Mavericks Arena. They'll play there in Arlington at the College Park Center. And but again, crazy stat about New York. Only 3 times in the last 2 months and they had their big three together and healthy, playing the entire game. That being Sabrina Ionescu, Brianna Stewart, and Jonquel Jones. I mean, Jones out, for 4 to 6 weeks. About 5 weeks she missed with that ankle injury, and now Brianna Stewart has been out for a couple of weeks with that bone bruise on her knee. So despite all that, they're in second place right now behind Minnesota. So they can get healthy. Who knows what can happen? They've been really, really good when they're all together. That's game one for most. Washington and Minnesota is the other regional game. Later on tonight, we've got Seattle at Las Vegas. Both those two teams tied right now. Had their struggles during the season. Kind of disappointing for both. Can they come through? Seattle, the big trade to get Brittany Sykes from Washington. We'll see her tonight in game two. Our coverage begins at 7 o'clock Eastern on ION. Can't wait to see you along with sitting alongside Autumn Johnson and Megan McEwen. We love doing the show every Friday night. Speaking of the W, MVP, we've talked about, Nafisa Collier just been outstanding. Caitlin Clark really injured too much. I think you probably can take her name off that list. You probably can add Alyssa Thomas's name because she continues to make a run in what she is doing. Last night, 18 points, 11 rebounds, 10 assists. She becomes the first WNBA player with 3 straight triple doubles. Mercury over Indiana, 95-60 to get their third win in a row. Dewana Bonner enjoyed this game as well. The big free agent acquisition for the Fever this past offseason. Things did not work out well with Indiana, even though she was there with her former coach with Connecticut and Stephanie White. And so she leaves that team, signs with Phoenix. She is back now with her partner, Alyssa Thomas. Both played together. Of course, they are life partners as well. She came off the bench. Bonner did last night. 23 points, 7 boards to aid in the rout. One of the top all-time scorers in league history. Bonner is just an outstanding player. So Phoenix right now winning 3 in a row, but the Sparks may be the hottest team in the league. LA winning for the 8th time in 9 games, 102-91 over Connecticut. The Erica Hamby with 21 points, Rakia Jackson 20, Kelsey Plum 18 to lead the way. The Sparks scoring over 100 points for the 5th time in the last 6 contests. That offense right now clicking on all cylinders. The Dream continued their recent role as well in Chicago, beating the Sky 86-65. They've won 4 straight. Alicia Gray with 25 points, Jordan Canada 17, 6 rebounds, 6 assists to lead the way for Atlanta. Now, off the court, a cryptocurrency meme coin group has taken responsibility for a series of disruptions at WNBA games in recent weeks involving neon green sex toys being thrown onto courts during live action. A representative of the group telling USA Today that the acts have been part of a coordinated publicity stunt tied to the launch of their coin and were not an attack on women's sports. Speaking on condition of anonymity, a user known as Daldo Rain on social media claimed the stunts were meant to generate viral attention while pushing back against a centralized power structure within the crypto space. A former protest, the group launched the meme coin on July 28th and began infiltrating WNBA arenas soon thereafter with these neon green sex toys designed to resemble a rising green candle on trading charts. All this according to text messages obtained by USA Today. So, by the way, there has been 1 arrest already. Actually, 2 people have been taken in, and we've talked about this before the show, and we'll leave that there. Let's leave those things at home, please. Baseball last night, just a few games on the diamond. Jacob Lopez striking out a career-high 10 batters in 7 2/3 innings. Hey, by the way, producer Tony, based in Valdosta, Georgia. Well, Valdosta high grad Colby Thomas hitting his first major league home run, drove in 3. A's over the Nationals 6-0. Hey, by the way, the A's have quietly won 9 of their last 13. You can probably start to engrave the Cy Young Award in the National League with the name of Pirate star Paul Skeens. Last night, gave up 7 hits in a contest, which is the first time that's ever happened to the second-year right-hander. Also struck out 8 in his 6 innings of work. Pittsburgh shut out the Reds 7-0. Skeens, by the way, part of 3 shutouts in his last 4 starts, lowering his league-leading ERA to 1.94. Yeah, we'll call him Cy Skeens. In Seattle, Dominic Canzone singled home the winning run of the 7th inning. In the 11th inning, boy, I'm messing everything up. Hey, real quick, start this again. In Seattle, Dominic Canzone singled home the winning run in the 11th, and the Mariners completed a 3-game sweep of the White Sox, 4-3 victory. Randy Arozarena with the early 2-run homer for the Mariners, who swept the series for the first time since July 11th and 13th. They move within a game and a half of first-place Houston in the AL West. All right, stay with us. A quick timeout, and then Mountain West Commissioner Gloria Nevarez joins us here on the Sports IQ.
There's nothing more fun than going boating with friends.
We were all out having a good time when all of a sudden, my best friend's hat flew off, and without thinking, he jumped in the water to retrieve it. When we turned the boat around, he seemed to be struggling to keep his head above the water. We all started yelling, "Pull the cord! Pull the cord!"
I pulled the cord and my life was saved. I was wearing a belt-type inflatable life jacket. The wisest decision I ever made.
Life jackets worn, nobody mourns. Learn more at pleasewearit.com.
You're locked in to Sports IQ with Larry Smith.
We are thrilled to have on the show once again, joining us for the second time here on Sports IQ, Gloria Nevarez. She's a commissioner of the Mountain West Conference. Commissioner, thanks again for joining us. Welcome back to Sports IQ.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, lots has changed since we last talked with you in terms of some of the changes. So much to cover. Kind of take us back, if you will, to kind of the beginning of the conversation of some teams wanting to kind of choose a different path and leave the conference.
Yeah, so I think that was September, I believe.
Yeah.
A little bit ago. And certainly we had known that it was a threat or possibility because in 23, San Diego State had, in fact, before I even took the job, been very public about wanting to go to the Pac-12. And then flash forward, Washington State and Oregon State, we did a scheduling agreement with them, knowing that that might have been a potential path and wanted to make sure that we had our future lined up. And then when it all happened, our membership really linked arms and moved really quickly. Within 5 months, we had secured our current membership, added enough members to retain our FBS standing, and signed a grant of rights committing everyone to stay together through 32. So our group really, I alone could not have mobilized the group to move that quickly unless there was, will and desire to make it happen.
Yeah, it sounds like, and I think that, I look at what you guys have done and, we talk about, the conferences at the top of the scale, right? I mean, the Big Ten, the SEC, they're bringing in money that nobody's going to touch. And it just is what it is. That's the reality of it. But I think the Mountain West has always been one of those conferences that has been incredibly competitive, has really set the bar in terms of those conferences outside of the Big Four, as terms of a conference that is right there. There are always those teams competing, not just for conference championships or for regional status, but for national championships on a national level. And I really feel like what you guys did in the wake of all this was, like you said, move very quickly and in my opinion, very successfully to make sure that you ensure the future validity and success of this conference.
Well, I appreciate that, Larry. And one of the things that we talk about a lot is, the Mountain West is only 25 years old. We were probably the first conference disruptor back in the day, one of the younger FBS leagues. And we've known conference realignment. I mean, we were the league of TCU and Utah and BYU. And when you're where we are in the ecosystem, people come to you and really elevate, be it presidents, ADs, schools, student athletes. And I think in one sense, we lean into that a little bit, right? And we keep rebuilding and we keep elevating. And it's funny because some of the schools that we added in the wake of those previous departures at the time were not considered as desirable as they may be today. And so we pride ourselves on being the place like, come establish your brand here. Mm-hmm. And by the way, if talent moves through the system, we will find and cultivate new talent. And a lot of the talent comes back, be it assistant coaches finally sitting in the chair, former student athletes, like folks have a great experience here.
Yeah, absolutely. Talking again with Gloria Nevarez, she's commissioner of the Mountain West Conference. As you talk about that and move through, how does it change the way you navigate now in these new waters? You mentioned again already, securing some deals, into the next decade. How do those conversations work for you as opposed to maybe some other leagues?
So for us, it was really important to establish our stability into the future. And certainly, I think what you said in the open, media rights partners, those within the industry understand our value. They understand what we will be and what we are and what we will be and continue to be. And, coming into this season, I feel strongly we're going to have the play-in game to the CFP again.
Yeah. Oh, I think so. I mean, we're going through a series right now of our top 25 of producer Tony's top 25 because he put it together and he's one that crunched all the numbers. But there's no question about that in terms of the quality of play you have, not just in football, but in all sports as well. I want to get into the house deal because everyone we've talked to in this college space, we've posed the same question to as we're always curious. How that is laid out for your members, were they prepared for it? What changes do you anticipate here in this next school year and then in the future?
Right. And so, not being a defendant to the lawsuit, we weren't in the room behind the scenes doing all the crafting, but certainly our goal was to get as much information as possible to our schools, and they were gearing up to the best that they could for this day. Are we going to be at the 20.5 million? No, we never have been, right? But where do we need to be to retain our competitive level? Because we have been very, very competitive at the highest level. And so our schools are in the process and they're already in the space of what they need to invest and do at this level to retain their competitive status that is still in line with their institution's mission and values.
Yeah. Are you concerned that there will be those rogue players? They've always existed, right? I mean, we're not naive. We know it's been there. But I have joked all summer long that the one thing we've gained from this, while we do have some guidelines and guardrails now, but those who listen to the show, they've heard this before, I will say, but we've kind of shown people how to take McDonald's bags and turn them into Macy's sacks. The numbers are only going to get larger if there are those people who decide they want to skirt the rules. Are you concerned that with those larger money programs, there will be those third-party influencers that will continue to tip the scale? And in some respects, they will harm other programs, especially programs like those at the Mountain West.
The key word there is continue. This is not new to our environment. What I think is new is a different enforcement mechanism. And again, I'm an optimist, but hopefully that curbs the already occurring scale tipping that has been going on in all the sports in this ecosystem. So enforcement hopefully is new and maybe a little bit more impactful. But two, what I really feel helps us, now granted we're in a window right now, but roster limits relative to the size of the squad you need to actually field a competitive team, hopefully then prevents warehousing large amounts of talent. And the pool of talent is still the same, but if you reduce some of the warehousing at the highest level, are we more competitive in getting talent distributed throughout the system? And if you look at a lot of our rosters, we do have a lot of Power 4 transfers in. Certainly some of our big impact players can transfer out, but also rebuilding, it's amazing how many are coming the other way.
Yeah, no question. You mentioned a word in terms of enforcement. So you're an optimist. You're going to go into this.
Not that much of an optimist.
Okay.
I'm going to cut you off right there.
There you go. Exactly. You knew where I was going with this. Exactly. So
I'm not delusional.
Right. Fair enough. So let's just say we're hopeful that the mechanism will have more teeth than what we've seen in the past. Is that fair?
Fair.
Very good. There's a talk so much about again all this about dollars that and I do believe that the larger conferences are not done expanding. I do believe at the end of the decade we will see another wave, if not before then, of some movement, particularly with the ACC, their grants of rights coming due in 2036. The penalties to get out are slowly dwindling with each year, so it just feels inevitable that's going to happen. Are you concerned that college football in particular will go to some kind of super conference model of the top 48, 60 teams that'll be taken from those Power Four conferences and possibly leave your conference and your programs out of the mix?
I think that's always the looming threat. That certainly was the very real issue we were dealing with in this current conference realignment. Our position in the Mountain West is like, look, we are FBS. We compete at that level. We play you in non-conference. We vie for the CFP. So if there is a separation and a breakaway, we need to position ourselves to be able to compete in that environment. And again, I'm not talking about being at 20.5 million or match toe-to-toe budgets, but be desirable competition to play against. And there aren't that many institutions in the Western region relative to the East Coast. And so making sure we have robust, competitive programs out here to pick up the Western region fans and market is really important.
Yeah. And I feel like you've done that with your TV markets. And do you feel that even with those programs leaving, I'm with you, I look at the Mountain West as it has been structured, as it is structured for the future. And as a consumer, as a fan, I'm very excited. Are you concerned at all that the new look Pac-12 will impede upon what the brand you have built already moving forward?
Not so much brand impeding on our brand. Certainly, the media market got soft, and that started when the Pac-12 fell apart, and really has trickled down. We were going to be the last collegiate entity in the market, period, on this round of media rights. The legacy partners picking up the Pac-12 schools through the Big Ten and Big 12 agreements really impacted their need for Western region inventory. So combination of factors impacting media negotiations, certainly. But when it comes to competitiveness and brand, our goal is to continue to stand out and stand alone. And I think we're well positioned to do that. We have 26 years of history and growth. And, we're not starting from scratch here. So, I think continuing on that trajectory, that goodwill, the halo effect that is going to happen around our schools coming in, it's really impressive to see how much philanthropy, investment, excitement are happening in those communities, Texas, Phoenix, Chicago, Sacramento Bay Area, at the anticipation of being in the league. So we're excited for New Look 26.
Yeah. We've talked so much about football. I want to kind of switch to basketball before we run out of time here. The NCAA recently decided to keep their tournament field at 68 teams. Do you feel that's enough? Is that a decision you were happy with? What's your take on that?
So anyone, no matter what your field size is, those on the bubble are going to be left out. I've been in that chair. I've called, I've complained, I've been righteous and shook my fist at the committee, certainly. And that's also part of the competitiveness and the fun. So my view on championships is they have to be large enough in field size so that you can ensure the best teams in the country are vying for the national title. I do think 68 achieves that. I would have been open to an expansion if it didn't ripple effect and negatively impact the greater tournament. Because if it ain't broke, let's not. But if we could have been additive and added a couple more teams, I would have been open to that too. But I'm good with the decision. I'm also good with exploration of expansion that doesn't encroach on the robustness of conference tournaments or the great experience we've built around March Madness.
It does feel like, just like, again, I think the college football expansion, there's another wave coming, I think, in a few years. I think this also is coming. Obviously, it's not 26, probably 2027. I think the way they're setting this up in terms of adding another Dayton site as a first four, possibly maybe in the western part of the U.S. or another part of the country where you've got that region. Look, it's another opportunity for more TV eyeballs. I mean, there's more ad money, there are more dollars into the system, and you do have another 4 to 8 teams that can say, "Hey, we were part of this amazing experience."
And remember when they built Dayton, it was, oh, what is this? I don't want to be in the first four. Now the first four is actually a really cool experience. And Dayton has certainly put their arms around this event and made it their own. Like I've been maybe 2-3 times and place is rocking. It's a great student athlete experience.
Yeah, it's awesome. And it's a chance for programs that normally don't get a lot of attention to get a lot of attention. I mean, there are a lot of eyeballs watching. I will sit down and I'm not bouncing around from other channels. I'm watching this channel and this game, and they've been incredibly competitive. And I think it's been good for the sport. I want to kind of leave you one more opportunity to talk. What have I missed? What are we missing? What's ahead right now for the Mountain West, for college athletics, that maybe we're not talking about?
I think you're seeing it across the conference space. And certainly we talked about it at our football media day, is thinking differently about how we do business, right? Our core services are serving student athletes through championships, regular season scheduling. We still need to continue to do that well with excellence and serve student athletes. But we need to think more about, our two major sources of revenue are media rights, which we get a shot at once every 5-6 years, and football performance, which as a conference office, we don't control or impact at all. We don't hire coaches, recruit student athletes, build stadiums. So thinking about ways, and we've restructured internally to dedicate resources and bandwidth. So it's not just me, but we have people in the office thinking about how we can monetize all these aspects of the business that we do on a daily basis and really well, and not focus solely on expense control.
You guys have been always, as we said, amazing for the past quarter century of, in some ways, like you said, being disruptors, and also being, a calm thought in this process and making sure you're competitive year in and year out. Commissioner, we always appreciate your time, and we thank you for being a great voice for college athletics and for student athletes. And hopefully you'll get a chance to join us again when your schedule permits.
Thank you so much for having me, and loving on the Mountain West.
Absolutely. We love the Mountain West. Commissioner, thanks so much. Gloria Nevarez, once again, we appreciate her time here, Commissioner of the Mountain West Conference, talking about college athletics. It's a Sports IQ, and we'll continue after this. Welcome back here to the show. As we promised, we were always counting down our top 25, getting ready for the season. And this is time now, producer Tony, for team number 21 in the country. Who you got?
We are unveiling team number 21 as the North Carolina Tar Heels. And there's only one reason for that, and its name is Belichick. Bill Belichick, leaving the pros. Yeah. Right. I mean, come on. He's one of the most famous pro coaches going into the college ranks. We'll see how that works out, but you got to give him the benefit of the doubt going into the first year. He's got his son, Steve, working as the defensive coordinator. They got to figure out a way to get better on the run defense. They have hit the portal hard in the offseason. Last year, the team allowed 4 yards or more per carry in 7 games. They lost 4 of those games. Wow. When they allowed less, they were 6-0. So if Steve Belichick can help Daddy Bill Belichick and strengthen up that run defense, things are bound to be pretty good for North Carolina. The schedule sits up real pretty for the Tar Heels. Not that many tough games. Clemson being probably the toughest. They do get Clemson at home. They don't play Florida State or Georgia Tech or Louisville or Miami or SMU.
Oh,
so yeah. The toughest road games after that, NC State, Syracuse, they have to go to Cal. That's all the way across the country, but not too bad. Interesting enough, they start off with the first game. You remember a couple years ago when Deion made the splash, go to Colorado, started off with TCU, won that shootout.
Yeah.
Bill Belichick, following in Deion's footsteps, he's starting with TCU also in the first game on September 1st. So we should know right away what the Tar Heels have or don't have. They got to replace Omari Hampton at running back, who's now is in the NFL. He's going to be a great player there. So, but this does set up, the schedule is there. The quarterback is there. They've got a bunch of transfers. They could easily win 10 games.
Wow. And that's the thing, Deion had the hot start, right? Like 4-0. He was like on ESPN hourly, even when they weren't doing a football show. I mean, he was on, everything. He might pop up during 30 for 30s just because it was, I joked that, ESPN's going to just, rent out some space in Boulder because it was going to be the Dion show. And then the wheels came off in year one and they did it better in year two. I don't think it'll happen with Belichick. I think he'll learn. My thing in terms of him, not that he can do it for a season or two, will he be there long-term for 3, 4, 5 years? That's my thing with him being there in Chapel Hill. But it's a great story. And like you said, gets in some attention. And if they, listen into his scheme and what he's doing, like you said, shore up the defense, could be interesting down there in Chapel Hill. All right. So North Carolina, number 21. We'll continue this next week as we count down to number 1. Our moment of all is up next.
Are you tired of your website making your business look bad? Is your current web developer dropping the ball? Let's face it, if your website isn't making you money, it's broken. Let Neon Rain create a website that turns your visitors into customers. Neon Rain has worked with hundreds of businesses across North America, building custom websites and applications with modern designs that are easy to update and work well on mobile devices. They can do it for you too. What sets Neon Rain apart? They actually deliver on their promises. Call today for a free consultation, 303-957-3092. That's Neon Rain at 303-957-3092. Or visit them at neonrain.com.
Time now for a moment of awe. And remember the name Victoria Mboko as the U.S. Open begins. The Canadian teenager, only 18 years old, beating Naomi Osaka last night to win the National Bank Open. She becomes just the third Canadian to win that home event during the Open era. She'll jump from 85th to 25th in the world with her first WTA Tour title. Again, the name is Victoria Mboko, 18 years old, also beat Coco Gauff in this tournament as well. So maybe a rising star in the world of tennis. Huge, huge win for her. Hey, huge show is all done for us. Thanks to Danny Sheridan. Thanks to Gloria Nevarez as well. Thanks to you. Make it a great weekend. Let's have some fun out there. We'll talk to you on Monday.
Thanks for listening to Sports IQ with Larry Smith, Monday through Friday. Continue the conversation at SportsIQ LS. We'll see you next time.